I don't know if you guys heard a cat, but I did.
I was gonna ask whose cat is
that? That's my cat.
Oh, okay.
1 second. Let me turn the volume down.
So funny.
Hello, everyone. Tom here. We have Eli, Scott, and Chris tonight, and we're going to talk about Takeshi Kitano's 1994 film Getting Any. And also just before that, just chit-chat about bullshit,
Bullshit.
And Eli, do you want to say hello?
I guess.
Okay.
And girls.
Chris, welcome back.
Sorry, I missed last week. I had an obligation, but happy to be back.
That's okay. As long as I'm not by myself. I don't like talking to myself.
It sucks.
And Scott, welcome back.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for
Glad
being
to be
here.
back. Thanks for having me back.
And I was listening before we started to this banger on Metal Blade Records, sort of banger. Explorer with 2 X's.
I never heard it.
It's I like that it's a little early Queensryche, the Queensryche EP.
Oh man, yeah.
It's just traditional metal, but there's a little bit of that in there. But then check out the.
Yeah, it looks like Queensryche.
Nice. I like how the one guy is wearing like the South Beach fedora.
Yeah. There's always the one guy that's like, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah. the Sunday
hat, guys.
Yeah.
Can I show something I've been listening to?
Sure.
All right.
Please do.
I went through a box of records I got from my mother's house, and I've been listening to Stacy Q, Better Than Heaven. And people will mostly remember Stacy Q for the song Two Hearts that beat as one, which is good. But the real banger is We Connect. It's so perfect.
Is that her first solo album?
Yeah,
because she was in SSQ, which is actually really good, the synth pop. I highly recommend. It's one of my favorite music videos of all time. As SSQ Syntheside is the song, and then it's just this crazy music video where it's like this synth-based racetrack thing. It's hard to explain, but that's one of my favorite music videos. That was her band before she went solo.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you know what, Tom? I'm going to say you absolutely just like blew my mind that you have like a deep knowledge of Stacy Q. Because I'm just digging into her for the first time, really, and then here you are. You're like schooling me on her discography. I'm like,
I don't know. Beyond that, I hello, Simon. Thank you for being here. Beyond that, I don't really know much, but I like that SSQ. I think that's the name of it, that album.
All right, cool. I'll check that out. I'm going to say I was driving around today listening to this in my car, really loud too, and I was thinking, I was like, I've reached that point in my life where I'm listening to late 80s teenage girl mall pop. Like I don't know if it's me, if it's signaling something like maybe it's time for therapy or maybe choose a healthier lifestyle or something. I don't know. But
I have I'm still organizing my VHS collection. I have a Debbie Gibson VHS, which is like her in the studio and then her hanging out at the mall with her friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to dig that out and watch that since you're speaking of that. I also have a VHS of music videos with nudity, and I think she shows her boobs on that VHS.
Wow, nice.
I think it's Teardrops on your pillow is the song.
That sounds hot.
Scott and I are both ordering copies of this right now.
It's you don't want to order this thing. This is a topic for another day.
Yeah.
because
I mean, I kind of do, but okay, go ahead.
there's some shady stuff on this
Oh.
tape.
You're not deselling me, Tom, but that's okay.
It was one of the VHS tapes where back in the day at the video store you had to go into the little room with the saloon style doors.
Yeah.
You know.
Did they call those cowboy doors? Who called those cowboy doors? Was that Rick? No, maybe it wasn't one of you guys. Somebody go like, yeah, I used to call those cowboy doors back in the day. I don't know.
I would just call them saloon doors.
Okay, maybe.
So, did you guys prefer the saloon doors or the beaded curtain?
The curtain for sure.
Yeah, me too.
It was way sleazier, the curtain, you know.
Yeah,
because like curtains, you just yeah. You heard the curtain move from the other side of the store, you know.
When I worked at Tower Records, we had the saloon doors.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
Doors were more classy, you know. Curtain was more sleazy.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Well, you know what? The saloon doors, I feel, made a statement. Like when you exited the room and the saloon doors opened up, it was kind of like the Wild West, where now you hear like the doo-doo, you know, like sort of that whistle, like a hawk, you know, flying overhead, and tumbleweeds is your stack of XXX movies in your hand.
Yeah, anything goes in this land.
That's true. The exit was more badass. Like, yeah, whatever, fuckers.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Yeah. They wanted you to exit feeling cool because it's hard to do already.
They wanted to cut down on the shame factor.
The shame.
This is actually cool. You shouldn't be embarrassed.
Yeah, this is not just a curtain we can hose down. These are doors, man. Yeah, I get it.
Listen, guys, I think Nikki Dial's a really good actress. That's why I'm here. Who cares?
Hey, I appreciate her early work, definitely.
I have a few things I can talk about. I did want to bring this up. I've been watching this. I just dropped everything. This York Bootgrit collection.
Oh yeah.
But this thing is just out of control. Like how many extras are on there? But they gave me copies of the 4 films in region B. So if anybody wants these and can play region B Blu-rays, they can have it.
Which region is that?
That's the European region.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So if you don't know that you can play that, then you probably can't.
Yeah, I know.
Because you have to get usually you have to like get a player modded or buy from a place that mods them. But just if someone out there is watching this, I have no use for these
European friends.
Yeah.
What did you think of the? I don't remember the name of it. Like the 4th movie that none of us have seen.
Yeah, that one.
Shram. I haven't rewatched that. Yes.
Okay.
Rewatched that yet. I'm still on the 2nd disc.
Yeah, you got a ways to go. It sounds like because all that shit packed into those, man.
And we just lost.
Yeah, we killed Scott. Fuck that guy. We banned him.
for what?
I don't know. He'll probably be back
for asking a legitimate question. That's
poser.
Unacceptable.
Tom, it looks like we got Simon as a taker for the DVDs.
But he's crying, so I don't know if that's.
He does live in England, so maybe he's he has that player.
Scott dropping out. That was the live stream equivalent of having the trap door in front of your desk in your corporate office. Like, just hit the button.
Yeah, Scott didn't even know we had one installed in his house.
Well, there's one kind of ranty thing I wanted to mention, and then I got something I just got in the mail as well. But I haven't watched it. But this is the Blaxploitation Classics Shout Factory box set 4K. But the weird thing is the cover is just like this purple and magenta fog.
Yeah, that's cool. That's so weird.
what happened is they had this artwork. They had drawn figures.
Yeah.
And then people complained on the internet, so they just took them out and just left the background.
Yeah.
What they complain about?
That it just looks shitty.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's like kind of passive aggressive. Like they just, instead of doing a new artwork, they just took out the actual drawings of the various
Okay, no artwork, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
But
is what you get. Silhouettes, motherfucker.
I've seen these movies except maybe one of them. But these are some of them are some of my favorite blaxploitation movies.
Yeah, there's some classics in there.
Across 110th Street. This is sort of the blaxploitation-y French Connection. And this movie's great. And then Black Caesar.
Black Caesar's great. My favorite.
Hell Up in Harlem. I don't know if I've seen this.
I haven't seen it.
And then Coffee is amazing. With Pam Grier, Sheba Baby. I'm pretty sure I've seen this. And then Truck Turner, Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes, yeah.
And they have the original artwork. So I'm looking forward to checking these out. I pre-ordered this, so this just is coming out like this week.
Yeah.
And they also gave me a coffee poster. That was the one thing.
Oh, nice.
Sick.
Go ahead, Eli.
Yeah, I would say Black Caesar's I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah, I would say even like across 110th Street. So taking Dolomite out of the equation.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're minus Dolomite, of course.
Dolomite and Human Tornado are automatics.
Yeah.
But I would say those are like my top three. Other than those are Coffee, 100 or across 110th Street, and Black Caesar.
Yeah.
And then the song across 110th Street is in Jackie Brown.
Yeah. I haven't seen the movie. I just remember the song.
It's the movie version. It's Bobby Womack. He recorded that song and then did a version for that movie, and that version is also in Jackie Brown.
Okay.
It opens Jackie Brown, so as a reference point.
Very Tarantino.
Yeah, Simon, you should be able to see the email. So anybody can just email me or contact me if they want those discs. But it doesn't it's just the first 4.
Tom, I have a suggestion. If you do decide to send those to Simon, I actually have a package that I've been meaning to send to him. So if you want, it would save you some money. You could send them to me and I could just throw them in my package to Simon since he lives in England.
Okay. I also just have like a bunch of other stuff that I can get rid of.
Yeah.
But I have to go through and organize everything.
Of course. Yeah. I have a package I've been meaning to send to Simon for about 4 months now. Every month I'm like, Simon, it's going to happen. I have to email him and tell him.
Dude, I freaking work at the office, so I'm literally there every day. But if I have to send an international package, I'm like, oh, fuck, not today. You have to fill out a customs form and then stay in line. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. The customs form that we always hope you fill out, right? Because you're like, I guess.
Yeah, right.
That's yeah. The other thing is like those are very shady movies. But they're British discs, so
they were banned in Germany, right? For a time, at least. I don't know about now.
Oh shit!
It's
not that big, Simon. I never promised a big one. All right. Now he's setting up expectations.
Oh, yeah, and then so the ranty thing I wanted to get into, we can is about Jason X.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is
a classic known as Jason X.
This is Arrow. I saw this movie twice in the theater, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh
I would say more so, and I think it played for 2 weeks. More so than any movie. This is one where I track, because it was sat on the shelf for like 2 years. So I sort of tracked it on the internet, and it got re-edited. So usually I don't pay attention to like, oh, this movie's coming out in a year. Let me keep track of what's going on.
Yeah.
Usually I don't care, but this was one where I was sort of waiting for it to come out. But anyways, the point is that Arrow is re-releasing this on 4K, and I've already seen several confused reviews and comments about the transfer.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try to explain how they did this transfer. So this movie was shot on Super 35 millimeter and then transferred to 2K digital after they shot it. So what that does is when you go from Super, I'm not exactly sure of the math on this, but when you go down from Super 35 to 2K digital, you're losing like 75-80% of the information. Okay. And then they do edit and do all the visual effects, all the color grading in 2K digital. And then they have a 2K digital file, and then they stick that that's not the right term, but they transfer that to 35 millimeter negative. And then that's the final version, is that negative, basically. So there's so I watched this video, this a channel that I recommend, Planet CHH. This guy Christian, he's a horror channel. He did a review of it, and his comment was he did Jason Goes to Hell is also coming out, and that's just 35 millimeter. That's just a normal transfer. And he commented that he was slightly disappointed, I think, in this because it looked a little soft to him. But basically, that's why, is because they got rid of that information to then be able to work with it in the 2K. And this was a completely new thing, in 2000.
Right.
So I believe this is the first film, or at least first major film, to even attempt that. And I think the reasoning was just that the digital effects, it's a lot cheaper to do all the digital effects for this film. So Chris, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So that's a 4K that's upscaled from the 2K transfer to 35.
This is just the Blu. I should have said this is the Blu-ray. This is just the Blu-ray. So I just wanted this for visual reference. I don't have the Arrow. So I don't. I looked up the information. It just said scan from the 35 millimeter negative. So I don't think it was upscaled technically.
Okay.
It's basically they will do that sometimes, but based on the information I've seen. So I don't have this disc. It's not officially out yet. Yeah, it's Super 35 millimeter to 2K digital, then back on to 35 millimeter negative.
But in the late 90s, early 2000s, they would do a lot of weird things like that, like with music too. They would record something to analog tape and then digitize it to make effects in Pro Tools and then transfer it back to analog tape. But My Bloody Valentine Loveless is an example of that, where the first issues, first press CDs that we all knew were all recorded analog, but then transferred to digital, so Kevin Shields could mess around with it in Pro Tools. But this was way back in the 90s. So yeah, there's weird stuff like that back then.
I mean, I didn't know about this, but it sounds to me like I download an MP3 file of a CD, then burn it, and then transfer it to WAV, and then re-upload it as a WAV file. Am I totally off base? Like, that sounds like
it's not exactly, because audio is sort of simpler than video.
Okay.
So the video is a little more complicated. Basically, functionally, what it is it's 2K digital that was originally shot on 35 millimeter, but putting it back onto 35 millimeter gives it sort of that grain, extra grain structure.
Oh,
So
you can do that without losing anything?
no, so you lose that information, but you're sort of adding this new grain back onto it.
Okay.
So it's a little complicated, but basically it's sort of a different look where it looks like film, but then it looks soft and not as much resolution at the same time. So it's sort of in between this weird area, and there's a lot of different ways that post-production has been made since since 2000. So
is this like a technique that's still used to this day, or is this very much of its time?
so yeah, this was a really popular way, especially to even like a lot of the Marvel movies and comic book movies, until the technology got good enough to be able to transfer it to 4K digital.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of movies that have done variations on this. I want to say the first Guardians of the Galaxy did a similar thing.
Who would have thought like Jason X was like kind of
so yeah, so Jason, but it wasn't because it sat on the shelf, it wasn't the first film to be released.
Yeah, that's true, because it's sad.
But it was the first film to use this process, and it became really popular. Because if the movie is like 90% digital effects, but they want sort of a film look, so then they would go this route.
Okay.
I think RLM had mentioned that Jason X was
yeah, they did,
based on how you judge it, was like the first digital whatever film, but it wasn't released until after something else. So
yeah, that's jogging my memory too when Tom's talking about them. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
Because Colin worked on it, was a frequent guest. Yeah, they talked about that.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember that episode. So people think like it's shot digitally or it's shot on 35. Like I've seen different reviews describe it different ways.
Oh,
and then I already see, like Blu-ray.com. I don't know if you ever go on there, but I've already seen like people complain that it's false advertising, that it's which doesn't make any sense. But there's going to be people bitching and moaning about something that is not true.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're like a real like bitrate freak, I guess I kind of get it.
But the point is just that it's not going to look as good as a native 35 millimeter. So if you get both of them, Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell should look better.
Right.
By definition, yeah.
Yeah. And then
I also like that movie more. So
yeah, I like.
Also, I like both those movies, but what are we fucking worried about?
Yeah, I know.
Like, who cares?
Yeah, it's not that.
It's not freaking Apocalypse Now.
No, it's not. It's already a movie that 90% of the population hates. Yeah. It's for like this a couple thousand.
I mean, I get if you're a purist. I can respect that, but I don't give a fuck. My DVD's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, it probably is.
One thing, Scott, you mentioned Apocalypse Now. I have 2 different laser discs of Apocalypse Now.
Oh,
nice.
One is the Criterion, and then the other is, I think, just the original one that came out.
Is the Criterion like the Redux or?
I need to check. I moved my laser discs around just last weekend, so yeah.
I think the Redux, didn't that come out in the late 90s? I can't remember.
It may have I have a DVD of it. I think that's early 2000s.
Yeah, I think I have that DVD.
The Laserdisc may have been earlier. Yeah.
I got the Lionsgate, like it's like a 6-disc edition, but I haven't watched any of it yet. I've seen. Oh no, I haven't watched it, but I've seen all 3 versions of the movie.
Yeah. Like I like the super long version, but I don't think it really works as a movie. Like I kind of like those being like extra scenes you can watch if you want.
Yeah, I think the original is the best version.
Yeah, I think
there's
so.
3.
Yeah, I'd agree actually. Yeah. Or it's cool as a version though, like maybe I want to watch that version sometimes, but it's not the definitive. It'll never be the definitive version. I don't to me.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's damn cool to have.
Yeah, I mean, one director's cut that I go back and forth on is the Aliens director's cut.
Yeah, that's a good one to point out. Changes everything, you know.
But I kind of like both.
Yeah.
That's
a good point. Yeah. If you had to choose one, it'd be really hard to absolutely choose. Yeah.
I used to be, I guess, on the side of longer is better, which I definitely don't agree with now. But like the longer cut of Terminator 2, I was like, oh, that's better. And then I look back on it now, I was like, no, they cut out the stuff that, like, if you're an idiot, you needed to see. You know what I mean? Like, they spelled shit out.
Yeah.
And the same with the Dawn of the Dead, like the director's, is it the director's cut or the producer's cut? I don't know. There's so many cuts of Dawn of the Dead, but there's a longer version where, what's her name? I can't remember her name now. The lady basically spells out the entire like theme of, you guys are just going crazy with all the stuff in the mall, and you're losing track of blah blah blah. And when I was like a younger person, I thought, oh, that's awesome. That needs to be in the movie. And then when I got older, I was like, no, if you're not a fucking idiot, you get that. You don't need to have it spelled out for you. So I'm trying to think of a director's cut now that I like more than the theatrical cut. Maybe like the Lord of the Rings movies. I do like those longer cuts more.
Yeah.
Than the theatrical cuts.
There are some where they just took the movie away and cut stuff out. But a lot of times when the director, the movie wasn't like, they had the original cut and they were allowed to have that cut when it came out.
Yeah.
And then years later they go back to it and then make it longer. Like usually I don't prefer that longer version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a good example of yeah, that would be a good like debate, I guess.
I like I guess the Lord of the Rings movies, they're so long anyway that I think like adding 20 minutes to them doesn't do any harm with runtime, and I think the things that add in are worthwhile. So, but when it's like, you can have a hour and 40-minute movie or a 2 hour and 10-minute movie, and then usually in that case, the theatrical cut I think is more effective.
Yeah,
and then the sickos can watch the director's cut and get into that. But
yeah,
there's like the original. I don't know if they have a different cut, but like the original ending of Fatal Attraction. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it. No.
I think that's better, but I don't know if that's like if they've made a different cut, or because I just remember seeing the ending on as a special on the DVD. I don't know if I want to give it away if everyone's seen it.
Yeah.
Won't spoil a 40-year-old movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the original ending that the director wanted, I think is better.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the one example I can think of.
Listen, I'm not going to let you get off of this. I asked last show. Is anyone want to talk about Street Fighter? No. Well, Chris, this is a blind side for you, probably, right? Let's go.
I'm not familiar with that.
It's great. It's a great movie.
Well, Chris, you do not appreciate fine art.
I have a terrible taste in movies, and I don't have the attention span to follow most storylines, and I'm a terrible person to watch a movie with, because all I do is just critique things going on in the background. I argue like the technical validity of science fiction and stuff like that. It's
But the plot of this movie is pretty simple. I don't think you really need to pay that close attention. There we go.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, if you don't like this movie, I think you don't like cinema or art or maybe even life itself.
Yeah, air, oxygen.
I'll check it out and then
Hey, I only first saw this. I should probably point out I saw this movie, Scott, like 6 months ago, so I can't act like it's but I did like it. So
I will my little story about this. I don't know, the age of you guys, but when I was a kid, we had a pay-per-view channel on our cable system that if you were not ordering a pay-per-view, it would just play like trailers over and over. So I would watch that all the time and just see trailers for movies I couldn't see.
Yeah, free trailer channel, hell yeah.
Yeah, and I would see the Streets of Fire trailer over and over, and it was like, oh my god, that looks like the fucking greatest movie I've ever seen. And I was like 9 years old. So just to contextualize it, I was 9 years old, and this looked like the fucking greatest movie of all time. And my dad bought a VCR, but it was a beta. So in the rental stores, the beta selection was not great. So
no,
he would every day. I said I want to see this movie, Streets of Fire. He would go to the store, see if they had it, and it was weeks. Like to me, it was years, but it was probably like 2 weeks, right? He finally got it. He got Streets of Fire, brought it home, and I watched it, and I was like, this is the fucking greatest thing I've ever seen, and maybe the greatest thing ever, the greatest movie ever created, right? It's got motorcycle gangs, it's got gunfights, it's got a hot lady, it's got cool music, and many things from my childhood I've gone back and watched and wished I hadn't. I don't know. For some reason, Streets of Fire is right. I love it as much as I did, maybe more than I did as a child. It's a preposterous movie.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense, but I just love it so much. It's got great music. It's got a really weird, cool atmosphere to it. A cool setting. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I love it. I love it. It's amazing.
It's a rock and roll fable.
It is a rock and roll fable, exactly.
Which is their way of saying this doesn't really make any sense.
but it's awesome.
Cool.
But it's awesome.
It
is awesome.
When I had a movie blog like 15 years ago, and I did my 100 favorite movies of all time. This was on it.
Damn.
Nice.
What whereabouts on the list? Roughly.
Number one, or
there wasn't. I wasn't ordered.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's way easier to do.
It probably would have been like near the bottom 5, like 95 or something. But
still, though,
that's not an insult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like Jim Steinman. I know a lot of people, especially metalheads, seem to hate him.
He's a good songwriter. It's a good songwriter. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Diane Lane at the time. She dated John Bon Jovi. I think before this or around there.
Wow.
Or after this.
She turned 18 while they were making this, so I hope it was after.
Or maybe it was after.
This might be some evidence here.
Yeah, I mean, would that shock you?
It was the 80s. It was.
Yeah,
times are different, guys.
Yeah, different yeah. Remember a winger?
Yeah, there weren't sex crimes in the 80s. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
On the special features, Michael Pare talks about like on the set them bringing Diane Lane her senior high school report card, and he was supposed to do like a sex scene with her like the next day. He was like, "What the fuck?" Even at the time, he was like, "This doesn't seem right."
You guys have lawyers, right? Okay.
But I love that it just revolves around a concert. So she gets you know um, kidnapped after the concert. um, yeah, and then also just that the rock and roll fable aspect. There's it's not really, and it's like in the 80s, but in the 50s
Yeah.
at the same time, and I think that actually works.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like at the time, I couldn't articulate it, obviously, but like yeah, like watching it now, I was like, "Where is this? What is this?"
It's
And
stylized. It's stylized. You know.
yeah,
Yeah. It's exactly what it means to be, which is its own thing.
and this is to me a perfect example of the blank check movie because
Yeah.
Walter Hill had just made 48 Hours, and he was the belle of the ball,
Yeah. Now I
and
get to make my movie, guys. Right? Remember my movie?
he wanted to make this movie, and he was, I think it was originally on Paramount, and he was gonna. Universal was talking to him, and they wanted to sign him to a big deal, and they were like, "Yeah, man, whatever you want to do, let's go, let's do it." So this was his first movie, and well,
We
it
got to
didn't work
talk
out.
about that one soon. We really should do an episode about that one once Chris
Well,
sees it, and yeah,
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
and it would fit what Tom's got going on, you know, if Tom's okay with it, of course. But yeah, it's a cool.
Yeah, I need to come up with a list of stuff, but I like the just that yeah, the sort of, it's an original movie because there's not really
Had to show my
another.
45 too. Sorry.
Oh wow,
Oh, that's cool. That's so cool. Yeah.
it's
Hell
like
yeah.
almost a genre of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's supposed to be a
'cause
trilogy too, but
Oh, no
Yeah.
shit. Damn. That would have been cool.
the one big flaw is just like all of Rick Moranis's dialogue. I think a lot of his dialogue is kind of bad.
Yeah.
oh, I like him in it.
I don't think
I
it's
really
his
do.
fault. It's just that like he's always complaining about money.
Yeah, that's true.
Just the
Oh,
way
like
it's
a
very
typical-
on the nose, the actual dialogue he's given.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's very
I
true.
on that documentary too. Michael Perea was like he wanted to like knock Rick Moranis out every 2 seconds. Like he annoyed him all the time, and he's just like. I guess like when they weren't shooting, he just kept like poking at him and stuff, and that would have been fun to see.
Yeah.
What was going on? Like they really wanted Michael Perea to happen, right?
Eddie and the Cruisers. Maybe it was Eddie and the Cruisers 2 that killed his career.
You know, I kind of like that movie actually.
It's ridiculous, but it's funny because
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. Michael Perea. I mean, I asked my wife. Because I was just rewatching it last night, and I was like, "Is this guy hot?" And she was just like, "Yeah, kind of." And I was like, "Really?" So, I mean, I guess that was it, right? Like he was a hot boy, and they were like, "Yeah, let's make him a star."
Well, Eddie and the Cruisers too. That was like, the guy who wears the leather jacket with the sunglasses and drives the convertible.
Yeah.
That was like the whole greaser sort of look. The bad boy.
Well, see, I can kind of see it in Eddie and the Cruisers, but also like, wasn't he in Eddie and the Cruisers for like 15 minutes? I mean, I know he was Eddie, but the whole story was about him disappearing, and it was about other people. And I feel like when they made him the star, I was like, oh, maybe not this guy.
Well, just because in part 2 he's supposed to be dead, and he comes back, and no one could tell it's him because he's wearing a mustache.
Right. He's a construction worker.
And then they have the black guy say to him, "Hey man, I recognize people's souls, and you got the soul of Eddie." So he couldn't recognize him. He couldn't visually recognize him, but because he has
soul recognition,
he has soul recognition powers, he's able to see through the mustache.
I'll admit, I've not seen that movie in 30 years. I think I just wanted to like it.
I'm paraphrasing, but
yeah, Michael Perea, guys, right?
yeah, he didn't do much after those 3.
some Uwe Boll movies.
Oh, that's true. All right. Do you guys want to talk about getting any?
Sure.
Just curious, is my mic picking up my cat purring right now?
Yeah.
Can you hear
that? But it's perfect. It's
just a little bit, but it's fine.
Okay.
Oh, but before we start, can I hijack to talk about New Japan?
Sure.
Do you know the story of Kitano in New Japan?
No. I know he did something, but
okay, so I thought I knew the story, and when I did the research, I was like, okay, maybe not. But I guess he had like a TV feud with an Antonio Inoki in '87. He never appeared in any New Japan shows, which I did not know. But I guess he was talking shit, and he was like, I'm bringing somebody in to destroy Antonio Inoki. And I'd never seen the footage, so I just assumed he led this person in, right? Well, he did not. But the person he was introducing was Vader. And
Really?
It was in December 27, 1987. He brought in Vader, but he did not appear on the show. So I thought it would be a really fun topic because that was the show in Sumo Hall where there was the riot where people set their seat cushions on fire and threw them in the ring. And I was like, oh my gosh, Kitano got them banned from Sumo Hall, but he wasn't even there. So
yeah, I've heard about the seat thing. I didn't realize Kitano was part of that. So
he was in the lead up, but he did not appear at the show.
Okay. But this is something I want to see evidence of now, so I'm going to try to look it up. But
well, I watched the footage on New Japan World. It cuts off before that happens. There are pictures of it online, but there's no footage. I guess I was searching and it said in Japan it's considered a lost media. I don't know if it existed and they got rid of it, or there's no footage of the flaming seat cushions flying in the ring. All I could find was a video of Vader, in his later years saying, "Oh, they were setting the cushions on fire and throwing them at me." God forbid, I don't want to break any illusions, but wrestlers might exaggerate and make up stories. But I watched the footage that was there. Vader won the match. A couple of people threw cups in the ring, and then he left. And then the footage cuts off. So there's nobody threw a flaming cushion at him, but I've seen pictures of it later. So
I don't know, Scott. Hulk Hogan said he tried out for Metallica. Are you calling him a liar?
He was going to join Metallica. He also started Pride. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's pretty much been the touchstone for every cultural event in our lifetime, I think, Hulk Hogan.
Most of them, yeah. Most of them. Yeah. You can't be.
He was supposed to be in Kiss too, right?
Probably.
I think I've heard that story.
I choose to believe it, Scott. He was going to play Ace Frehley when one of the many Ace Frehleys.
Hulk Hogan,
Hulk Hogan is good at. He is good at pretending to play guitar.
He didn't know if Andre the Giant would let him win at WrestleMania 3. Did you ever heard that?
Oh God!
It was a shoot.
It was a shoot. He didn't know.
Yeah.
Also, his entire body exploded when he body slammed him.
So we were talking about Takeshi Kitano, who's writer director of Getting Any, and he's a lot more famous in Japan than in the U.S. He was a famous comedian in the 70s and 80s, and then he starred in this. It might have been the first show like this, but it was called Takeshi's Castle. And it was basically like these American Ninja Warrior type of show, but it was in the 80s. And then I knew him, basically he directed various crime dramas that played in America and were released on DVD, and usually starring him. And that's originally how I knew about him. And that's sort of in America, he's more known for those movies like Fireworks, Sonatine,
Brother, I think was one of them, right?
Brother with Omar Epps, Violent Cop. I just picked this up this morning at a store. This is I have him on DVD, but this is the Violent Cop Boiling Point double feature.
That'd be cool to have.
Violent Cop is like his Dirty Harry, but it has more comedy to it. And this is one movie Getting Any basically was a box office bomb in Japan and never really got released anywhere else. And I had heard about this movie and bought it. I have like a Chinese DVD that I got like 20 years ago, and that's still the same copy I have. And this movie is pretty different from or very different from his movies. The closest comedy that he made is called Kikujiro, which is a road movie where he's a gangster that's supposed to basically get this kid to his grandmother's house, and it's a road trip movie, and they just encounter various weirdos, and it's a movie I really like a lot, and there's more comedy in that. But this is just flat out like his attempt at like an Airplane style sex comedy, just be as ridiculous as possible. And then so Takeshi's Castle, it's like a game show, like one of these American Ninja Warrior. They did maybe it was on Comedy Central. They did like an American dubbed version called Most Extreme Challenge, I think.
Yeah, it's great.
Is that the name of it?
I feel like so. I feel like it was. I could be. Maybe you have one of the words off, but yeah.
Yeah. But so you might know him from that. I think it's Most Extreme Challenge, which is basically like it's like What's Up Tiger Lily, the Woody Allen movie where he takes the Asian movie and dubs over it. It's like that version.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So what is, and one aspect of this movie that I love is that it has simultaneously the simplest plot of all time and the most complicated plot of all time.
Yeah, that's a good summary. At first you're like, yeah, this is just, I mean, I got it. And then by the I was gonna say by the end, but not even by the end, but like halfway through, you're like, man, this just gets wackier and wackier as it goes.
So basically, I have a bunch of stills and clips I could play, but basically the way it starts off, he's watching an erotic film where a guy's getting laid.
It's great.
I should the guy's name is Asao. He's the 35-year-old loser that lives with his grandpa. And he's watching this erotic film where this guy is getting laid in a car.
This has happened to me a lot.
This is the guy that like every dude wishes he was. Exactly. This guy. Exactly.
It's like a documentary of my life.
Yeah, basically.
So then this is the big moment in his life. He sees this and he realizes
at 35 years old.
Yeah, he's got just a bunch of porn on his walls.
I need a car.
Yeah. So then he I have to still figure out everything with the restream, but here we go. But you guys can see everything, okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he goes to his local dealership. I want a car I can have sex in.
and they give him a test drive.
Yeah, and then so the sales lady helps him out.
Yeah, she sure does.
And
they're very accommodating to him.
the sales lady and the salesman don't. He's a broke loser that wants to have sex in a car. They don't seem overly excited. They seem like they want to get him out of the sell him a car and get his ass out of the showroom. And then but he can only afford a $2,000 car. It's this thing. And he practices with a dummy or with a mannequin.
Yeah.
And then I have a.
He's not bad, to be fair. I mean,
it looks like it's going to work pretty good.
Yeah,
So I did a montage of this first vehicle. He attempts at sex with his new vehicle, and I made it.
That's the first thing old guys do when they buy a new car. They're like, how could I bang in this thing?
my thoughts exactly when I bought my Prius. Like, yeah, this thing's gonna get me laid, definitely.
Your Prius is about the size of the car that he buys, so that's I get it.
My first car.
So this Prius, let's go.
My first car was in a Zuzu iMark. So this was like the.
I never even heard of that.
Super budget, whatever the shittiest car Zuzu made in the late 80s. And
you got to admit though, iMark sounds way fucking ahead of its time, like 30 years ahead of its time.
And it was called the Hamster. This was what everyone called it. I did not coin. I don't remember who coined this. And it was just
sounds like a fast car
covered in metal stickers on the back. Whatever I remember I had a Cradle of Filth sticker like above.
Probably Obituary.
That was a fucking food magnet, I
bet. Whatever else. I don't remember.
Jesus is a cunt sticker, probably.
So do you guys want to watch a quick? I have a 90-second montage of his initial sex attempts. Would you like to view this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if this. Let me know if this works.
車に乗って何するの？
カーセックスです。
バカ。
お嫌いですか？乗りませんか？
私ですか？
お送りします。このスケベや。
やってよ今面見ていいよ。こんなせこい車に女に乗ってると思ってんのか。タコバカ。
バスが故障しちゃったんで乗せてもらえませんか？
いいですよ。
皆さんいいですって。
おい。これお前らやめろ。これお前らやってること分かってるか？おいこら。
おかしいな。車買ったのに全然持ってないな。やっぱりオープンカーかな。
Okay, so we have a few developments. This did not work very well, and the car is just now destroyed randomly. But he has another light bulb moment where he realized, I think chicks dig convertibles.
Yes.
So I think I made a mistake.
They do.
But there is a problem in that he spent his entire life savings on this car.
All $2,000.
$2,000. So what he does is he donates his grandfather's organs. Or not donates, he sells his grandfather's organs. To buy a convertible to have sex in. That's a man that knows what he wants in life.
The one that explodes as soon as he drives off the lot. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to. Let me see if this picture. Okay, this picture's not working.
It seems like very Spinal Tap to me, the selling grandfather's organs. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, now
The meow. The fucking doors.
お嬢さんやりませんか。オープンカーですよ。お嬢さん乗りませんか。カーセックスをしましょう。お嫌いですか。
Oh my god.
But I love that it doesn't deter him. He's still like, I have a plan. I'm gonna go ahead with it.
He has the car, man. That doesn't matter what pieces it's in.
I like that the salesman. He's like, "This isn't the car I bought." He's like, "No, this is better."
Yeah, this is actually the car that you did buy. This is the one you could afford.
You know, one thing too, going back to the convertible that had the two girls sitting, you know, on the trunk, the part of it. Did anyone notice that the mannequin was in the passenger seat?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't actually.
That's good.
I can try to pause.
No,
it.
wait. Oh, wait. Oh, you mean in the red car, the convertible? Yeah. No.
お嬢さん。やっぱりオープン。
But yeah, there's some like random things in this movie. But like I was wondering, is that supposed to be the same mannequin that he was practicing with?
That would make sense, or just to make it easier on set.
Imagine if you were such a loser that even like some other dude got your sex doll. You know, like I mean,
fantasizing about your own sex doll.
Your own sex doll won't have sex with you anymore.
That's the reality.
I think that's what it is. Like the sex doll is now free from his grasp.
Oh, Tom, I wanted to ask you. I feel like you would know more than I would about this. I felt like I really enjoyed this movie. Thought it was funny, but I felt like I was missing a ton of jokes. What was going on with the car dealer slapping the kid? Do you know?
That I don't get, but
okay.
I get the movie. There's a lot of Japanese movie references,
right? A couple I caught, but I knew a lot I didn't.
But in like Wikipedia, it says there's a lot of parodies of Japanese television.
Okay.
So I feel like there's a few weird things that I don't get because of that.
Also, like just like I wasn't familiar. You guys are probably going to think I'm lame. Chris might not, but you, Scott and Tom, are going to be like, "What? I wasn't familiar with Takeshi Kitano." So like, it seems like he really put. I mean, like a lot of his style is put into this movie, obviously. And what I thought was cool was like if you read a little bit about it, there's like he just seems like an interesting guy where people will approach him, film critics or whatever, and they'll be like, "Okay, this is the way we take your films," and he'll be like, "Ha ha ha, no." And it just seems like he denies everything, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it just makes him a really interesting character to me. Because like you got, actual film critics will be like, "Oh, I think that you were addressing this from the 1970s and this," and like then they interview Kitano and he's like, that's pretty funny. Nah, that was just something.
Well, yeah.
So I need to read more about it.
Keep in mind that he started off as a comedian, but then in the West he was known for like award-winning films. Like I think Fireworks won Best Film at the Venice Film Festival, whatever year that came out.
Yeah.
And then so he was known as sort of this esteemed Japanese filmmaker in Europe and in America, and they didn't even necessarily realize he was a comedian or
pre-internet days where no one really knew what you did your whole life. They just
he was kind of seen as a major filmmaking artist. So I think that he's probably wasn't used to getting comments like, you know,
Yeah.
from some guy Gene about what he's as good as Kurosawa or something like that.
That's a racist term, sir.
Yeah.
Well, it's too late we're already past
It's
the
okay.
fence at this point.
That's the funny thing. We don't care if they have a racist term for us. We don't care. Yeah, for like, I always thought of him as like an actor because I knew him from Battle Royale and I knew him from Brother, and I knew he'd done other movies, but I just assumed he was like well, it
looks like he's done more acting than he's done. I mean, he's had more acting roles than he has, than films that he's done.
like of kind of like of more, what's the word? More prominence, I guess. Yeah. So for me, like being like a newbie in like Japanese film, I was like, oh, he's a really cool, like respected actor, and I didn't know anything about his comedy background or anything like that. So yeah. And even in this movie, I was looking at the Wikipedia and I was like, it says he stars in it. Like, where the fuck is he? He doesn't show up until like 20 minutes till the end.
So he plays the invisible man scientist that wants to win the Nobel Prize towards the end. And then he is the other big one is he is the teacher in Battle Royale.
Yeah, that's what you were saying last week. I think you said he was in Battle. That was when you said that last week. That was my only connection was Battle Royale. So like, it's such a weird world when you think about it. Like that's okay. You guys,
and if you don't know Battle Royale, you may know it 10 years later called it Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with him either.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the buzz around him in the late 90s was really because of Fireworks, I think, because that was like considered this is like a great Japanese movie if you're into foreign movies or in the aughts. And that's what the movie I initially saw, because I remember like Roger Ebert really championing Fireworks in particular, which is just a drama that he directs and stars in, about a yakuza who can't control his anger and is dealing with his dying wife. So it's just a drama.
Okay. Is that how we got kind of pigeonholed with the yakuza thing?
Yeah, at least in America.
In America, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets a third car. So let's do a quick another montage.
He has a bunch of cars.
And I love the irony that he crashes into the sign for the dealership. So
the same dealership.
It comes full circle.
Good advertising,
I like how he just killed a woman and there was still the playful music in the background.
Yeah.
But
he might have been.
It was no big deal. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do love that choice of music for that part.
It's her fault for having a sexy butt and distracting him.
Or for walking down the shoulder of a highway for some reason in heels. And someone explained to me like the business attire walking down the shoulder of a highway.
I think the movie logic was this would have been a perfect candidate for a ride. She would have been like, "Oh my God,
Right.
I clearly need help moving down the road."
Yeah,
but he screwed it up.
Yeah. And it also goes to highlight the fact that like this movie is literally like, I mean, you made the airplane comparison, but it is literally like a bunch of like sketch scenes, you know, cut and just pasted together. And I don't mean that in a negative way either. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty like Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't get any better than that.
So the 3 cars, they're all failures. So he pivots and he sees an airplane, and he imagines that if he had a first class ticket on an airplane, the stewardesses have to have sex with you.
Yeah.
This might have been my favorite part.
Yeah.
First class.
Yeah.
This is what he imagines in his head first class service is like on an airplane.
I imagine that too, actually.
Yeah, me too. As a poor person,
and I've never flown first class in my life.
Me either. Probably never will.
But I like the like I don't know if it's the Japanese censorship board or whatever, but even like his like lascivious like fantasy about hot ladies having sex with him, it's very like proper. Like the stewardess comes up with him, is like, "Sir, are you okay?" And then she like takes her top down, and then like sits politely on his lap, and then she like kind of like politely smooches. It's like, I don't know if that's supposed to be like a reflection of his like childish fantasy about what's going to happen, or if it's just, you know, whatever Japanese cinema will allow. But either way, I think it works. I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I really liked that scene that they in the plane when she like took her clothes off and then sat in the guy's lap. You know, it's I started getting online looking for an Amex Gold card or something, so something to rack up some miles real fast. You know,
Just like a real sicko would be like, "Oh my God, she takes her clothes off and then she kneels down and like rips my pants off." And no, him, it's like, oh, just she takes her top off and then she sits in your lap. That's what happens.
It's a little more polite. It's a little more. It's classy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's a little more
romance.
Yeah. It's perfect, is what it is. It's perfection.
But there's a problem. He's still broke.
Oh.
But he has a new goal to get a first class ticket on an airplane. He just has to rob a bank.
We need his gun first.
But he keep in mind, this is Japan. It's harder to get a gun than you can just find them in the street here.
I bought 3 guns since we were doing this live stream.
You just find them on eBay.
There's one on my porch right now. I haven't gotten out and got it yet, but it's sitting there.
So
Amazon dropped it off.
Yeah. So
DoorDash.
Step number 1, he's got to get a gun. So this is another quick video of him attempting to get a gun. So first he's going to just demand a gun from a police officer.
That's the way
we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Damn. 川口の鋳物工場でピストル作るか。川口の鋳物工場に就職。
あ、今日から新しく入ることになった浅尾君だ。
一生懸命働く。家族と打ち解ける。
みんないっぱい食べてね。
お、来月から給料上げるからな。
メルバに。よーし、川口へ行ってみるか。
Here, and then Simon says, "I'm sure Scott would have got him laid." So this movie could have been 5 minutes long if he just
Oh, for sure, yeah.
got with Scott.
Just hang with me. You get wet, no problem.
It's all about the wingman, you know.
So
are you guys? I'm sorry, just a technical thing. Are you guys lagging out on those videos, or you be able to see the whole thing?
That one did lag where he was getting shot.
Okay, yeah, I it lagged bad for me. I didn't know if this was me.
But basically, if people missed that, so he realizes that demanding a gun from a police officer was not going to work. But he has a better plan. He's going to get a job at like an iron factory of some sort.
The long con.
And work there for a year, get in their good graces, and then under the cover of night, build his own gun.
Pistol.
Yeah, a pistol, and then go rob a bank, and then buy a first class plane ticket, and then have sex. So this,
see, we're getting closer and closer.
At this point, I think there are easier ways to go about this.
I mean, yeah, it's part of the joke and part of the fun, but like, just get a prostitute, man. What's going on?
yeah. I mean, depends on where you live. Anywhere from $25 to $130.
But I mean, yeah, like Japan's not that big. You can, wherever you are, you're.
I made those numbers up, by the way. I don't know.
I've done some outrageous things to try to get laid in the past too. So I mean, trust me, I own a Saves the Day CD. All right, so yeah.
And you still have it is the cool thing.
Yeah.
Did you try to?
It's like it's in a special spot, you know. It's like it's in its place for things that I need someday.
Yeah, I get it.
So, but there's a twist. So a dying yakuza just randomly gives him a gun and a car.
Okay, I want to ask you about this. Is this a reference to something?
It's got to be.
I don't know, but that actor is in. He does play a gangster in several of Takeshi Kitano's movies.
Okay.
That's probably it then. Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
So so it renders his entire escapades up to this point kind of pointless, but or just luck shined upon him, we can say.
Yeah, I mean, finally someone his way.
Yeah. All right, and I have I'm worried about the video lagging, but I did so now he has a gun and a car, and he's gonna go attempt to rob mostly banks or what you call armored cars. So I have an epic montage of his robbery attempts, and I thought it'd be fun. I thought it would be fun to pick our favorites. So I'm going to play this and see if it actually plays.
Okay.
Should be good.
おい、金を出せ。
はい。吉田さん、お待たせいたしました。
言う通りに金を出せ。
はい、お支払い10万になります。ありがとうございました。
頑張って金を出すんだ。
はい、わかりました。お客様、番号札をお取りになってあちらでお待ちくださいませ。吉川さん、お待たせいたしました。
強盗だ。金を出せ。表のシャッター閉めろ。
長、金庫の定期検査だと言ってるんですけど。
定期検査？
聞いてないそうです。
はい。この度この近所で伝染病が発生いたしました。つきましては当保健所では予防のためにこちらの薬を飲んでいただくことになりました。
君何やってんだ。そういうことは私だろう。皆さん、お手持ちのグラスに注ぎ物は回りましたでしょうか。では不詳私が温度を取らせていただきます。では乾杯と言ったらラードマン。
すいません、工事です。止まってください。
大都会に渦巻く犯罪に完全と立ち向かう
よかった。防弾チョッキ着てて。止まって！光が寄せて！今本庁の方から無線が入りまして、この車に爆弾が仕掛けてあるらしいんです。危ないですからすぐ降りてください。急いでください。危ないです。爆弾です。もっと遠くへ逃げてください。火がつきました。爆撃だよー。
Can you hear me? It said the stream got taken down.
Yep.
I guess so. What?
Yeah, because I also have it playing back on my TV, and it just
Smart guy. I would have never known. What?
Damn it.
Copyrighted or what?
Thanks a lot, Trump.
Yeah, copyright violation.
Okay, let me see.
Copyright of a film you can't watch in this country?
Yeah. So I thought we were safe because of that.
Or or it could have been the violence, maybe. It just says suspended for policy violations. So
Do you think? I wonder if it's a restream thing,
it's
or is it
a YouTube thing? Yeah.
A YouTube thing. I didn't. Okay. Wow.
You guys, a year ago, everybody go to Rumble and nobody listened to you.
I mean,
was that extreme?
Yeah, I mean, you can publish the live stream again. I think you need to wait a couple minutes or something like that, and we can go live again. But yeah.
Wow. It's all new to me.
All right. Well, this is kind of a work in progress.
Yeah.
Tom, this is really going to affect my subscriber count.
Yeah. We could try ending and just restarting without the clips.
I think
anytime I don't care.
Yeah, anytime you play back clips that aren't in the public domain, you're gonna end up running into this issue, because that's how YouTube monitors even YouTube content. You can run into issues playing that back on a stream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I really wouldn't thought that
Well-
would have mattered when, like, you literally can't watch this movie here.
Yeah, also because
Yeah, that's a good point.
I
Yeah, that's a good
edited so
point. I
there
didn't even-
were a bunch of edits throughout. So I was hoping that combination. Okay, well, I can try to do another stream, and then we can wrap up our discussion of the movie.
Okay.
So let me